Okay, part one kind of got a little bit longer than I thought, so I'm going to try not to make this one like super long, but I do kind of want to talk about this in entirety because, like I say, it taught me some truths in life. It happened at a perfect time on my journey because, you know, like I say, I had been raw vegan for about a year, so I'd cleaned out and I'd started to get the clarity. I was meditating a lot at the time. I was just very open. My heart was starting to open, and I was just starting to become aware, you know, of how I wanted to live the rest of this life and the things that were important to me. So this 3 weeks, it gave me a lot of time to think about this. So anyhow, the days came and went, and I would have weaknesses and strengths, and there were times, like I say, when it really started getting trippy. Not any hallucinating or anything, but just kind of like, wow, my mind's really foggy right now, and sometimes I would even be so slowed down that I would just be communicating like that. I mean, you know, just like very, very, I mean, some days when I just didn't even move my cot, I wouldn't even move a finger. Like, you know, I would just lay there and focus on one point on the wall. Well, all this time, you know, I'm not eating, but now people are starting to kind of pay attention and ask some questions. And like, oh, this crazy guy. Now, at first, I actually thought about using it if somebody didn't start talking to me there about my legal situation, about using it to maybe get out of there. Thought about making it like, well, yeah, I'm on a hunger strike, not a fast, and see if that was going to get me out of there. But I started, you know, making friends, and some of my friends, like Cuba being one of them, and there was another guy in there, we called him Nika. He was from Nicaragua, but turned out to be a really good guy, man. Another person, I couldn't imagine having done that thing without him in there. They didn't understand this thing, and they were all getting worried. They were like, you know, man, you got to eat. So come the 8th day, and I think I've got that excerpt right here when I decided to break it. Yeah, day 8. But I'm writing this on the morning of day 8, but it happened on the night of day 7. Day 8, and I decided last night that this is the last day of the fast. I feel pretty tired today, but otherwise good. I got an orange last night and took that as my sign to go back to food. It will be very nice to taste that first bit of food tomorrow. This has been an incredible and learning experience, but there is more to learn as I transition back to the food. I just hope my digestion and elimination will get back to close to normal. I'm hoping with the slow transition back, which should take 3 to 4 days, I won't have to put too much more harmful food into my body. Well, it did turn out I was going to be there. I'm not sure of the chronology, but I think I was probably there another week, 8 days or so after I ended the fast. Well, I came out of the fast. Oh, here's one. And I just had to, and I've got that on this page too. On the day, the only problem I had in there, and it had to happen on day 8 of the fast, the last day, and I'm weak as a kid, and I'm in this state of just constant meditation, and there's only one person that I've had a problem with in this facility the whole time. He's an Arab from Mozambique. Now, before anybody gets into this, I'll just say a little quick disclaimer. He was a crazy Arab from Mozambique. Now, that is not to say that's nothing negative towards Arabs. He was a crazy, you understand, crazy Arab from Mozambique. One thing I learned in here from my Lebanese friend that you may not know, so I'll give you a little education on the world. The word Arab, that's more of a description of the people of a region. So don't always look like, well, number one, I don't have a problem with Muslim Arabs. But there's Muslim Arabs, there's Christian Arabs, there's Jewish Arabs. This guy was the most racist, anti-Semitic, but he didn't seem to be much of a good practicing Muslim. So I'm not sure what, he was kind of racist. He was racist and crazy, which is the worst. So let's see exactly what he had. Okay. Moved to a room today where they turn the lights off at night, so I'm hoping for a better night's sleep. I got a very good nap of more than an hour this morning. When I wake up, then I wake up groggy, and this crazy Arab from Mozambique said he was going to kick my ass if he didn't get out this weekend. He hates the USA and blames me for being in here. He is crazy as a loon. In my current state, all I do is lay here as he kicks my cot. No worries, quite a few Latinos that you wouldn't want to mess with stepped up quickly. I am in good stead with more than a few of the respected men in here. One pretty much put the word to him to stay away in what I imagine was a serious tone. Couldn't put much thought into it as I observed the last phase of the fast. Mine has been open for meditation since Thursday, has not been open, but we'll try to get back in the session tonight. At this point, I was at a state where it didn't even, I couldn't even think about this. I couldn't even really worry about it. I was knowing, I was going to come off the fast tomorrow, but he picks this day when I'm as weak as I can be. Yes, I'm all love and light now, but if he'd have gotten me, what I was going to first do in there was do it with all the boys in there that were really kind of cons themselves. I was going to do push-ups and stay all bulked up while I was in there, healthy. And it would have been a different story probably, and I'm glad it wasn't because I don't like to go to those places. But anyhow, he decides on the 8th day when I'm weak as a kid, and he's going to start harassing me, basically because I have a U.S. passport. Well, I had made some friends, and Cuba was one of them. And Cuba, let me describe Cuba. Cuba, yeah, you could drop a few pounds, but Cuba goes about 250. So Cuba tells him not to mess with me after that initial thing. Well, he's stewing about it over the weekend. So later that night, he comes in around when everybody's going to sleep and starts up again. He's going to do this. Well, Cuba comes in, gets tired of it, and Cuba basically just tells him, if you touch this guy, I'm going to pound you into the floor. My buddy from Nicaragua, he's trying to be a little bit more diplomatic, so he's not messing with the guy too much, but I know he's got my back. So Cuba tells me, come with me. So I go into the big room where the rough boy, like this was the Colombian room. A lot of good Colombian friends I made there too. Or not good friends, but they were good guys. They're all respectable guys. But I go into the room where the big boys played, and he said, you're going to sleep between me and my friends. They were too big for cots, these guys. They were the beefy guys. So they had mattresses on the floor. Well, I'm sleeping in between. I got Cuba going 250 pounds on my right. I got this dude from the Dominican Republic, bald as a cue ball, about 230 on my left. And I got Nicaraguan guy. He's lean, but he's a fighter, man, in my back. And they're just telling me, don't you even worry about anything. We're not gonna, there's no way this guy. So out of all of that, this shows how crazy he was. And he was a skinny guy. He wasn't an intimidating guy. Like in a normal state, guards gave the green light. I could have probably done a lot of nasty stuff to him and wouldn't have had no problem. But anyhow, didn't have to come to that. But he decides to start more problem after I've come in there and laid down with laid down amongst all these guys. It's like I got my angels around me. I'm like in this state of just being weak as a kitten, and these guys got my back. So he comes up and messes one more time, and Cuba gets up, and I saw this look in Cuba's eyes. He said, look, you just aren't understanding this. If you come over here one more time, I'm going to pound you into that floor. And you're probably not going to walk out of here. Somehow he got it there. After that point, guy didn't mess with me anymore. Then I had about another week left. I even got to a point, I tried to, my cot mate next to me from Lebanon, he was telling me, listen, just don't, he taught me a lot of things too, and I should do a video about him later on, but he just said, don't let him pull you into some sort of a violent mentality. You do your thing, in other words. Okay, so anyhow, that gets over with. I don't have to worry about the guy anymore. I don't have the proper means to come off this water fast. I remember, and I could have written down, I didn't make perfect notes here for this video, but I remember like maybe the first day, I think I ate maybe 2 or 3 bananas and water. And I mean, those bananas, I really just chewed them to mush. They were almost liquid. And then each day, I think for maybe 2 days, then maybe the second day I increased a few more bananas. And then for a couple of days, my buddies were giving me their vegetables off their plates because I was getting them, the beans and rice and whatever meat was on there, and they were giving me the vegetables. Anyhow, it didn't work. And I won't go into the details, but between that food, the water fast and whatever, I basically had one elimination. I went to the bathroom one time in 3 weeks. So I get back to Atlanta and it's got me all messed up in the stomach. That took a little while to get over. But anyhow, the moral of the story is, and this is why I think you can apply it to the food too, and I think I get frustrated, but not in a judgmental way. It's just I want to help people decide. I want to show people how strong our mind is, how we decide things. It's like you keep, like even doing this lifestyle, well, I didn't do this or I was tempted. It's like we have a choice not to eat. We have a choice to be happy. And I took that choice. I mean, I could have taken this experience and I could have whined and just been, oh my God, blah, blah, blah. But I embraced this experience. I mean, for me, it was like 3-week vacation from everything annoying in life. There were annoyances in there. It was a loud place, but it was, it really taught me some things about myself. It gave me time to think. It gave me time to get inside my head. It gave me time to figure out what is important. And I'm going to leave you with this quote that I had written down, and it pretty much sums it up as much as possible. Well, before I read this, let me say one last thing about the fast. I will do a fast again at some point. I'm not really in that phase or in that way of thinking like I was a year ago. I'm more into, and I definitely don't believe, probably before I went in there, I could have seen a lifestyle more of juice fasting and fasting more often. Now I see it as something you just use at very specific times for a little bit of internal cleansing, and I will do it again when I have the conditions right. But it did a lot for me. It probably did way more for me mentally and spiritually than it did body-wise, but I think it did give me some good detox, getting some things out. So I'll leave you with this, and these are the kind of things, and this is like, I'm glad I picked these notes up today because I need to start processing this again, and I need to get back to some of that mentality that I had in there. So all the day-to-day things in life I've taken for granted, I can see in my mind when I close my eyes. The beach close to my house in the late afternoon around sunset. A light breeze blowing as the sun retreats and sets off a palette of brilliant colors. People surfing, people walking, and some just sitting there watching the end of the day. Fresh orange juice in the morning and all the fruit I want throughout the day. I'm sure I will feel a deep awareness and appreciation of it all once I'm released from here. And I surely did. I hope nothing like this ever happens to you, but always know that whatever your circumstances are, we deal with our circumstances as it's like you play the cards dealt to you. It's like, did I want to be there initially? No. I had no choice. I had to surrender. I had no will. I had to surrender. I had to give up knowing that I was in control. And I had to deal with that, and I had to make the best out of it that I could. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it didn't ramble on too long. I know it's in 2 parts. I'm sure the viewership won't be as high on this one, but just wanted to share a little personal with you guys to kind of give you some perspective on where I'm coming from. Have a wonderful day, and just want to say to all of you guys out there that subscribe and watch these videos, much love to you. And I mean that 100%. I really am humbled, and I'm really appreciative that you watch these videos. Thanks.